The Huntington Hotel was one of the great resort hotels in Pasadena, and as with many aging buildings, had fallen into some level of less than current standards for a five-star hotel, but it was much beloved, had a long history, and was actually structurally in very sound condition. Mm-hmm. However, because it no longer met all of the criteria for what someone would build in the modern era for a luxury hotel, the hotel was on the market and it was purchased by people who felt they could not make it work. And then there were some major seismic events in Mexico where hotels were badly damaged and there were injuries. And we felt that there was absolutely nothing wrong with the Huntington Hotel, but it cast a difficult light on older hotel buildings, so that was used as yet another reason why the Huntington Hotel couldn't survive. So a proposal was made to demolish the Huntington and build a new hotel, and it became a citywide bitter battle mm-hmm. because of the people who wanted to keep the original building, including Pasadena Heritage, who were so passionate about it and its history, and the developer and the more forward-looking people who felt a new hotel would be a success and they couldn't possibly deal with the old building. Ultimately, that issue was put on the local ballot. I believe the city council approved the demolition, and then the issue went to the ballot. And the very clever public relations team working with the developer registered the name Save the Huntington as their campaign slogan. And what they were doing was actually sort of usurping the message. So those of us fighting to really save the real Huntington had an uphill battle. It was a very close election, but we lost. And so the original Huntington Hotel was demolished, although some historic structures remain on the site. And probably the only good news that came out of that was that the developers had to agree to build at least a 4-star hotel in its place. And their concession was to make the exterior of the building look something like the original hotel.
They were local developers. Several of the investors and the main developer lived in the neighborhood. So they promised the neighborhood that they would build a hotel that looked like the one that was there. That was also made it harder for us to argue, because even though in reality Pasadena Heritage normally says if you're going to take down something and build something, then let's not make it a replica of what was there. Let's build something to reflect today's times. We don't want to see a lot of buildings taken down and then make-believe buildings go up in their place. In this situation, though, the developer promised that to the neighborhood, and so they built the hotel with slightly larger rooms. That's what the big issue was. And I think what remains is the picture bridge and the Georgian room and the Venetian room. The main public spaces.
And some other auxiliary buildings.
And some other areas.
Right. Around, yeah. My recollection is that we did have competent, qualified structural engineers who were well experienced in the analysis of historic buildings and seismic retrofit look at it, and they maintained too that the building was not seismically unsafe. It could have been retrofitted, that the interior partitions, if necessary, could have been removed, and the rooms meeting the modern standards for a luxury hotel could be accomplished. But again, they wouldn't hear of that.
Right.
And I do remember when the demolition took place, at least the urban legend is that it was incredibly difficult to demolish that building. It was so well built and so full of rebar and so strong that it took 2 extra weeks and 200 extra dump trucks or something to demolish the structure that was supposedly so unsound.
And that's reminiscent of the demolition of the Pasadena Athletic Club, which was a very significant building laid waste in order to allow for the build-out of the Plaza Pasadena. This building was at the corner of the gross site that was leveled for the new construction. It could easily have been adaptively reused and made part of that project if the developer was so inclined, but they weren't. And actually, I, with one of our other Pasadena Heritage Board members, drafted a National Register nomination for the Pasadena Athletic Club, and it did become, as we were told, one of the most controversial nominations ever submitted. It was fought all the way to the keeper of the register in Washington, D.C., both by the developer and by the city, who was then operating under the PRA, Pasadena Redevelopment Agency, mantle. And ultimately, the building was torn down. It was listed on the National Register, but in being torn down, like you just reported with the Huntington, it was far more difficult for the demolition contractors. So it was just a minor little bit of retribution, or pyrrhic retribution on our part.
We've had other smaller losses of buildings here and there, but for the most part, I think we've been pretty blessed in having things go our way.